Hey everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Wild and the Whites podcast. So here we are, it's day 2 at camp. We're feeling good.
Real good.
I am about to polish off a whole pot of coffee by myself. And between Paul and Tyler, I think they've gone through a whole case of Pepsi already.
No,
Almost.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
maybe the top rack.
Right? So we were sitting around just talking guns, and we figured that we might as well put the mics on and do a topic about what we use for our setups for hunting. Different hunting guns that we have.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we're going to apologize in advance. We might not have the most energy right now that we've ever had on a podcast.
We were up all
And some
night.
of our words may not make a lot of sense, but
we
we
were
were
singing Whitney Houston songs last night.
I think even Cher came on at some point.
Backstreet Boys, I remember.
Backstreet Boys.
You have quite the collection on your Pandora.
It was I wasn't my collection. It was a Pandora station.
It's okay. It was your collection. It was
I
a
mean,
very awesome playlist.
you guys loved every one of those songs.
I knew most of them.
Really? Yeah. Honestly. So yeah, we had a little bit too good of a night last night.
No such thing.
Right. So, you guys want to start with deer setups?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deer rifles?
That works.
Definitely.
Okay. Paul?
So depending... I was like,
No, we're good. I'm
Okay.
just making sure that it's actually plugged in.
so stand setup is Savage 110 30-06 with a thumb hole stock and
Ooh, thumbhole stock.
yeah,
Why do you use that for your stand hunting?
because it's heavy. That gun is very heavy and it's sighted in at 300 yards, so
Oh, nice. Yep.
all the way out, I should say, to 300.
Do you like the thumbhole stock?
Yeah, I do. It's really comfortable. I shot my spike horn a couple years back with it, just on a whim. I brought it out that day and ended up seeing that deer, but it's got the barrel floats in the stock. Like, it was one of the Boyd stocks. It was an aftermarket stock that I ended up buying it off a guy, private sale. So far, the gun's held true and everything.
That's the one that's got the same colored stock as your muzzle loader?
Yeah.
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 That's what I thought.
That gun's it's heavy. It's not so heavy I wouldn't carry it, but if you get into the brush, so my brush gun is a Marlin 30-30.
Nice.
For the most part, I either run that or I'll run my Remington pump.
Mm-hmm.
And now maybe I'll run the Remington semi.
Yeah.
We'll see. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna pop that scope off that came on one of them and put a red dot on one of them.
Oh, nice.
And then run a red dot on one and have the other one. So probably the semi will end up with a red dot.
Well, let's go back. What scope's on your stand gun there?
That's got a Nikon on it. I don't remember which one
Power.
exactly, but it's got a Nikon on it. And then
Is it like a super high power or
I wouldn't say super high power.
no?
Probably just an average. I didn't set it up, so I can't tell you the info on it. I never looked into it that far. I bought it off the guy. He told me it was sighted in, and
It's
I
got
tried it.
crosshairs. I just shoot.
Yeah, I tried it and it worked, and I said, "Perfect, we're good to go."
Yep.
And then the two scopes on both my Remingtons are older.
Yep.
They're not, and there's nothing new about those. So, and those are lower powered scopes on both of them. And then there's just iron sights on my 30-30. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm.
Did you peep out one of your guns?
I
Okay.
bought the peep
Yeah.
for the 760,
Yep.
and then
Oh.
and then I never put it on because it has the scope over, like I can see the iron sights under the scope.
Yep.
So I didn't end up putting the peep on because I don't want to take the scope off that, I think.
Yeah.
Because that's a great overall gun when I don't know where I'm going.
Mhm.
Because I can, if I get into the brush where I'm not going to be able to see through the scope,
Yep.
I at least can still use my irons where if I put the peep on and took the scope off, I'm just limited a little bit.
Right. Is that the one that I put the orange marks on?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I put like when I had that gun, when he was letting me borrow it. Is that the story?
Yep.
Okay. When he was letting me borrow it,
Try it out.
on the rear sight, I put like 2 lines in orange nail polish,
Yeah.
and then I put orange on the front iron sight too. So it's like super quick acquisition because it's got the iron sights that you can like look down under
Yep.
your scope. So it's harder like when you just have that small section to see, but when you got bright orange. And the other thing too is it had an ivory front sight, so when you got snow on the ground, you're like, where is that? So I swapped that and just painted it bright orange.
I guess my question would be, where did you get orange nail polish?
Amazon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I figured it was this drawer.
I was thinking medicine cabinet.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Right
not
next to
saying
right
I
next
bought
to the
it.
pink one.
I'm not saying I bought it off Amazon for that purpose.
Oh,
I may have
gotcha.
bought it off Amazon and already had it.
It's his Halloween color, okay?
Just enough left.
Right. Any other
No.
deer rifles that you got? Why do you use certain things for certain stuff?
Just
We
because.
got into like your stand because like it's heavy.
Yeah.
Your stand gun.
I run the pump and I'll run the semi the same, just kind of as an overall.
Yep.
No real rhyme or reason to it. I honestly just like Remington, so I'm probably gonna run those more than anything now.
Yep.
The 30-30, I like just because it's usually in the truck.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a beating and it still works every time.
Yep.
So if I
How long's the barrel on that?
short,
It is.
yeah.
So it helps in the brush to have a shorter
yeah.
barrel. Yeah, that's why I have
Yeah,
mine.
you can swing it around way quicker, and just maneuvering. You're not smacking into stuff.
It's not like the pump with the long barrel on it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And other than that, for deer guns, trying to think what's in the safe.
No, that's it that I have.
Yeah. I swear I haven't bought
Right.
more.
I think that's honestly,
Yeah.
for the most part, what
For deer guns.
what I'd use from deer. I have a couple other guns long guns that
So,
are
4 guns for deer.
probably
Yeah, I
for
think
right
that's
now.
about what I have too. Yeah.
For right now, we'll see. Actually, no. Then I got a 308 too. I got a 308 bolt.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Gregson has that still. I need to get that back.
yeah. You're such a good guy.
You're loaning a lot of guns
Yeah.
out, Paul.
just letting people borrow.
Gregson's
guns.
had that since he broke his 7.6.
Oh,
remember when he
yeah.
dented his 760?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's had my 308 since he did that.
Yep. Yeah, that's been a while.
Mm-hmm. Because that's
3
how
years now.
Yeah, because that's how he finished out deer season that year because he
Yeah.
couldn't run that gun anymore.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, he fell on his 760 and dented the receiver.
That'll
Just
do
a
it.
little. It's
Yeah.
like the smallest dent, but it did something inside where it doesn't want to work.
Nice.
Muzzleloader. What do you have for a muzzleloader?
Old Knight. What is it? MK92 or something like that. I don't know. It was my dad's.
Yep.
And it's inline. Runs off the snap caps.
Yeah. Yep.
So I want to switch it out to take the 209 primers eventually.
Yep.
But also, most of the time during muzzleload season, I'm still out pheasant hunting and doing stuff like
Yep.
that. So I don't usually get out for more than one day. So I'm not investing a lot into
Same.
muzzleload season because there's a lot of other stuff going on then.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like pretty much the only reason why I haven't bought a Woodman yet.
Yeah.
Is because I'm just like, I don't really hunt with a muzzleloader that much, except for like now it's going to be like an every year thing to do the Vermont.
Get him. Get him.
Don't mind Cannon. The screen door scared him. He was sleeping.
Camp
Yep.
is haunted.
Yeah. So except for like Vermont antlerless muzzleloader, which I'll probably do every year now. It's all good, dude. You got all riled up by the coyotes last night.
Yeah,
Colin
I got a video of him sitting here going.
They were
Yeah.
outside going nuts.
And you only have that one muzzleloader, right?
Yep. I don't have any others. I used to have an Encore. No. Yeah, an Encore. I
Yeah.
had one of those for a while. That thing was heavy though,
Mm-hmm.
and I ended up trading that for something else.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it for really deer guns. I'll run the 30-30 for usually when we're running the bear. Oh, I'm going bear hunting
Sure.
too. Then my pheasant gun, my upland bird gun is 100 and something year old, 16 gauge Lefevre. That was my grandfather's side by side, and that's great. It's got a short barrel, I want to say it's 16, 18-inch barrel.
Mhm.
Like it's short. You can swing around on birds with that, no problem. Only problem is if they get out ahead of you too far, you ain't touching them. And then I'll also run I have a Remington 1100 20 gauge that I'll run for birds if it's crappy weather out. I try not to take the double barrel out during rainy or wet days just because it's so old.
Do you find for upland, because I don't upland bird hunt, just curious, do you find that 12 gauge is like just too much?
I do. I think you don't need it.
Like, or do you run what do you run for?
I shoot a 12 gauge for everything.
Yeah.
Just because. Yeah. Oh, you certainly can get away with different 20 gauge,
Yeah.
16
I really
gauge.
like the 16 gauge for upland,
Okay.
for pheasant and for grouse. It's just
It doesn't like a 12 doesn't just like obliterate the meat that it's.
if you shoot a woodcock, it will.
I think a lot of it I would say is based on shot too,
Yeah.
like shot size. Yeah.
Yeah. Now that makes a lot of sense.
Shot size and how well you know your gun on leading
Yeah.
the bird as well.
Sure.
Yeah, I
I'm just
mean,
curious.
you shoot any woodcock with any gun, I think it's gonna.
Yeah. 410. That's what you need for
410. Yeah, you kill birds all day with 410.
I know a guy that's what he runs for pheasant and grouse. He runs a 410.
410. Yeah. I mean, they're nice guns.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
light, it's little.
My son uses one to shoot turkeys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure does a great job.
It's awesome.
But like so the reason why I asked is because I'm like 12 gauge for everything too, for my turkey guns.
Yeah.
And all my other shotguns that I have are all 12 gauge, just because it's easier to only have one gauge of ammunition that you
Yeah.
stock up on.
And I think 12 gauge and 20 gauge are two of the more common. So like if you go
Yes.
to a store, you can find 12 gauge, you can find 20 gauge, and it's gonna be a lot harder to find 16
I
gauge.
have to order the 16 gauge ammo
Sure.
that I use.
Yeah.
Luckily, I got handyman carry. Keeps good in stock too for
Oh,
me.
nice.
So, I had Chris order me a bunch last year. I got a case, and I think I went through a box. So I'll have enough 16 gauge now for the next couple hunting seasons.
Sweet.
Get everything now because with all these tariffs going on, you're not gonna be able to get anything soon.
Yep.
And then duck season. Clark got me convinced to go meet a guy, and I bought a Remington. What is that? An M8.
Wait, I convinced you to do this?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I don't remember any
You
of
have
these
the
things.
brain of a squirrel.
Who did I convince you to do?
I went and bought this gun private sale off some guy in Tilton. You found it online.
Oh, okay.
Because it was the same
don't
gun
It's
as
remember
your,
this.
easy to blame you.
I don't
it was
remember
the
this.
same one as your black one.
He's winking at me, Mariah, while he's telling the story. It's my fault.
Yeah.
It's my
Yeah.
fault.
This was before I even knew
Okay,
her.
all right, this is a long time ago.
For clarification.
I've had this for a while.
He made me get the gun.
It's Clark's fault. It's all Clark's fault. Yeah, it's an M887. It's that all pollen, like the gun.
Oh, yeah.
You remember this now?
Yes, I had one of those.
You had one of those.
Is that? Did you have the all black or the camo?
I have the camo one.
Yeah, and I
you
have
had
the all black. Yeah, it's an 887.
Yeah. So I got that. That's a pump.
That
And-
thing was a beast. Well, it had a lot of people had problems with them. I never had a problem
I
with
didn't-
mine.
I haven't had
and I
any
dunked that thing in the river countless times.
Yep.
Yeah, I've submerged this thing and it's totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a pump, and then I bought off a plant that Stoger M3000.
I like that gun.
It's a nice gun.
Yep.
The only thing I wish is it took 3.5s.
Yep.
It's the
Yeah.
only thing I really wish, because for goose season, it's like, oh, well, I'm gonna take the pump now. But other than that, that's all I run waterfowl wise is those two.
Yep.
That's it.
Tyler, Want to start with your deer guns?
Deer guns. All right, let's do it.
Oh wait, what's your coyote setup that you brought up here?
Oh, I just brought my AR up.
We'll show you guys shortly.
We're not going to give away our secrets as to how our ARs are set up. Fair enough.
Shooting from the hip. Deer guns.
Deer guns, Tyler.
Okay, let's see here. Do you want deer guns that I actually use or deer guns that I have? Because that's two different things.
Yeah, that's two very different things
Let's
for you.
approach this as in there's a listener that's trying to get into deer
Okay.
hunting and wants to figure out what gun they want.
All right, I see where you're going with this.
We'll just say we're approaching it that way.
All right. So, I have the gun I use 99% of the time around here, like New Hampshire, is I have pretty much what you have, Paul. It's a Marlin 30-30.
Yeah.
And I think it's a 3-9 scope on it with see-through mounts. So I have iron sights and the scope.
Yeah.
And I have that so that, like, I don't know, I feel like I always want a scope. But there's times where I'm using that gun where I'm like, there's no way you're getting the scope on a deer. So I use the iron sights, so you can kind of do either. That is like my go-to, if I'm hunting around here, gun. That's what I'm using. Yeah, pretty much short, close distance brush gun. I can pile through a bunch of stuff. I can pick up quick, get on target quick. It's heavy. It's a little heavy, but it's not bad. It's short, like you were saying. It's like a brush gun.
I want to say it's an 18-inch barrel on those.
Yep.
I don't know what mine is. I have no idea.
Do you have the problem with your? So I have a problem with my lever, where if I like step hard and I'm carrying it by the receiver, my lever just drops here and there, and it just pops just enough.
You might want to get that checked.
Yeah, no, it's at a gunsmith actually right now.
Yeah.
It started last year, but I started carrying the 760 last year, so
No, mine
when
doesn't
I
do that
started
at
doing
all.
that- Yeah, it's just a weird thing. I don't know what caused it. If something just wore out from use, like the catch pin wore out or something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
hopefully I'll find out soon enough. What's
Yeah,
up.
so that's like brush gun, typical hunting around here kind of thing. I can shoot a little distance with that. I mean, I wouldn't take hundreds of yards, you know what I'm saying? But like if I see something 150 yards away, I'd shoot, no problem. The bullet obviously has a little bit of different, it's a heavier bullet, it's going to drop more, so you got to account for whatever, but that's what I use, because where I hunt, I'm not shooting long, like max usually is like 100 to 150 yards. Usually it's like 30 to 70 yards. Yeah. Yeah, so 30-30 is kind of my most of the time rifle for around here. Let's see. I have a Browning Max Bolt 6.5 Creedmoor, which is a really awesome gun. But I don't use it a lot. It's really flat shooting. It's got a super high power scope on it, so I could really, if I wanted to sight this thing and go long distance, I could. But for what I hunt, I'm not doing more than, like I said, 150 yards. So
there's not many places we go that we're not hunting fields, and we're not.
It doesn't come out often, actually, but it is a good gun to have. I think everybody's probably got a 30-06.
Yep.
So that's like the first, like when you're growing up, you hear of 30-06. That's like the deer gun that everybody, so I have a couple of those.
That or a 270.
Yeah, exactly. So I have a couple of those. One is a Remington, I forget the model. It's bolt action.
700?
I don't remember.
770?
I don't remember.
Those were the two.
I can picture it. I
most
just don't remember what the
popular
exact
ones. Man,
model
it's
is.
snowing like crazy right now. It just picked up. Can't even see the other side of the lake anymore.
No.
Yeah, so and then I have, it's in my gun safe, but it's still my father's. I have he's got a old school semi-auto 30-06. That thing's awesome. It's got iron sights on it and a scope. So someday I'll shoot a deer with that, but I haven't even really messed with it. But let's see, next. Oh, we were just talking about this. I got a 16-inch.
I was waiting for this to see if it came out.
We're going to call it a handgun. But it's a little bit bigger than a normal handgun, and it's in 6.5 Creedmoor with a scope that's as long as the gun on it. I haven't done much with it, but this year I'm going to. I'm going to put it like in a bag if I'm out, with my bow or something. But I wouldn't bring that thing everywhere. However, it's small, lightweight,
If you're gonna go
single
if
shot.
you're gonna go sit in your saddle, that I could totally see
Yeah.
that being like a sweet little setup to
Yeah.
have with you.
Yeah. It can literally, I mean, that thing is 16 inches long. It's perfect. It's got a scope on it. It can shoot up to a couple hundred yards accurately.
Wow.
And, throw it in a backpack and go.
6.5 Creedmoor is a fun round.
It is a fun
It is a
round.
fun round.
It is a fun round.
Yeah.
Let's see. I grew up, still have it. My first ever shot at a deer, I forget how old I was, 8, 9, 10, I don't know, my father knows, but single shot 410 slug. And I still have that gun. It's
Yeah.
in my gun safe. I don't think I would use that now, but
Right.
maybe my son will, so we'll see.
Yeah.
243, that was the other thing. So I have a couple 243s. Growing up, that was like the next gun. Once I
Sure.
graduated from the 410, my father let me use a 243, which I still have. And then I actually have another one. I bought a Mossberg, I can't remember what it is, Patriot, something, I don't remember what it is. It's actually I bought for my son. He's yet to use it, but I still use it. So that's a fun round. It's smaller, lighter, can shoot pretty flat for quite a distance. It'll take down a deer, no problem. What else? What am I missing? I think I have a lot more in the gun safe, but those are like the main, like if you were going to get into deer hunting, I would say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
depending your size and depending what you're trying to do.
Right.
I would definitely say the 243 is a good starter
Yeah, I think you like
for
youth.
youth.
If you
Yeah.
even adults, but
Yeah.
I'd say youth too. Like in the like once you start getting like those early teen years, it's perfect. You can get like the gun I got for my son is great. I mean, it's short. The overall length is tiny. It's got a wicked short stock, so it's it's easy for him to hold. It's a little heavy, but I don't know if I'll have him like walking around constantly.
Right.
Like if we're going hunting with him with that, he's probably going to be sitting.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my suggestions.
Yeah. What
So
do you run for ducks? I know the answer.
what's your Monday gun? Then we'll get to your Tuesday gun.
Yeah. I'll go the same route. The gun I use 90% of the time is my Browning Maxus. This is the original Maxus, not the Maxus 2 that came out. And I love that gun.
That gun shoots phenomenal.
I will shoot that thing at everything. I shoot it for ducks, geese, turkey, anything. Whatever I can shoot,
Yeah.
I'm going to shoot with that thing. It's super comfortable. It shoulders good. Like for me, when you have a shotgun, you have to like put your hands on the shotgun. Like I wouldn't buy a shotgun without actually like picking it up and like shouldering it and messing with it and that gun, when I picked it up and did it, I'm like, oh, this thing feels great. And that I could shoot that gun pretty darn accurately too. Shot a lot of birds with it, and that thing is awesome. I could. It's a semi-auto. It takes 3.5 shells down to 2 3/4. What else do you want to know about it? It's got like a textured grip. It's 12 gauge. I think I said that.
Gas operated or inertia?
Gas.
Gas. That's what
And
I
you can
thought.
do all of the chokes.
Yep.
All of the choke. It's got a whole pile. I got a whole thing of chokes for it, depending on what I'm shooting.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like my go-to shotgun for waterfowl. If I'm going to go duck hunting or goose hunting, I'm probably going to grab that gun. I have also a Browning Synergy. It's an over-under shotgun.
Okay.
That is the weirdest gun to sit next to him in a duck blind and listen to him shoot because of the report that comes down. It like reverberates down the barrel,
Okay.
and it's just like when you're sitting next to him.
It is. I don't hear it, but every person I'm next to when I shoot, they're like, "Whoa, what just happened?" You shoot that thing, and it's like,
Yeah, it's really cool. Really cool.
but that's a fun gun. It's over-under, so it holds 2 rounds, right?
You got the camera on that one,
It's
right?
bigger. Yeah, I had a Tacticam camera on it. Yeah.
All right.
It's bigger, it's heavier, but it's cool. Like, I always wanted an over-under shotgun, so I bought some. And that was, I don't know, it's fun. It's great. I love it. I'm a Browning guy, so if you ask me like what shotgun to get, I'm gonna
Sure.
most of the time I'm gonna tell you Browning.
Yep.
Let's see what else for waterfowl. So I have a few 20 gauges that I bought for my son. I've actually shot ducks with the 20 gauge.
Oh, there we go.
There
We
goes
finally
some
got friends.
snowmobiles. They're heading through. Let's see if they sink. Well, there's a few of them. They made it.
Sweet.
Yeah, I got a few 20 gauges and a 410 that he uses for waterfowl and turkey. And they're fun little pumps. They're all Mossbergs. Oh, I have a Mossberg. Well, I had the Remington 887 you talked about, which is a good pump. You can beat the crap out of that thing and it'll work all day long.
The best thing is because it's all the whole outside of it's polymer, so
Yeah.
like you don't have to worry about it.
Right.
I think I've cleaned that thing. Like I'm being really bad here, but I've cleaned that thing only a handful of times since I got it.
Dude, I beat my Browning Maxus. I've probably cleaned it once in the 8 years, 9 years, whatever it's been, maybe. And I've put hundreds or thousands of rounds through that thing.
Yeah.
So I don't clean guns very well. Yeah. I think that's it. I would say, and if you wanted me to give you a tip on a shotgun for waterfowl hunting, I would say a semi-automatic 12 gauge is what I would tell anybody.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whatever you
I'd
can,
say so.
whatever
I
you can
agree on
afford.
that one.
Because then also you could if it's just chokeable, you could also use that for turkey.
Anything, yeah,
And you're just
exactly.
swapping chokes.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Like I said, I'm always going to steer somebody towards a Browning, but whatever anybody wants. I mean, I have Mossbergs, I have Remingtons, I have whatever. And I just say semi-auto because it's just so much.
It's a lot easier.
I shouldn't say
Yeah.
it's easier, it's faster, it's easier. People stick to pumps because they're more reliable.
Yep.
Or they, generally they're more reliable.
I like teaching someone on a semi if they've never shot a shotgun before.
Yeah.
So that you get them used to a little bit more kick than
Yeah.
they're used to with a rifle.
Yep.
And then you can like boost them up into a pump, and they're
Yeah.
less likely to anticipate and stuff like that on the shot. So.
Yeah, I have a hard time too if I change. So like I shoot semis all the time, and then if I pull out a pump one day,
Yeah, it
I'm
throws
like-
you off.
Yeah, I'll be like, I'll have birds come in, and I'll shoot the first shot, and then I'm like, going like ah! And then I'm not used to. I'm like, my brain is just going 1,000 miles an hour as I'm following these birds, and I'll like short stroke the thing, and I'm like and I'm freaking out. You know what I mean? I'm like, God damn it. Yeah.
I've heard that come out of your mouth before.
Yeah, it's frustrating when you're just used to shooting semis all the time, and then you pull out a pump, and you're like not thinking. Your brain
Right.
is just like
Yep.
doing this. Yeah, so there's my waterfowl guns. Turkey guns, same sort of thing. I'll use the same shotguns.
Okay. You just swap chokes.
Just swap chokes, swap
Yep.
ammo.
That Browning Maxis is. I've looked for one of those time and time again. I've tried to find one used because I've shot yours.
Dude, it's the best gun
It's
ever.
phenomenal.
I've shot. I have a Benelli. I've shot a whole bunch of different guns. A lot of my friends have Benellis, like Super Black Eagle 2s and all these other things. But like, I don't know. I would just choose that gun over any other shotgun.
Sweet.
And I think it's just me. Like, I mean, other people probably like it too, but like for me, it works well.
Yep.
It feels good. It shoots good. I do well with it. Next.
Me?
No. I don't know. What do I have to do? Anything else?
I don't know.
Oh, muzzle. I don't have a muzzleloader, by the
You
way.
don't
We
have a
skipped that.
muzzleloader.
I
Yeah,
had
yeah.
a really nice muzzleloader. I bought one of those Thompson Center Pro Hunter ones way back when.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like you
The
could
Encore Pro
interchange
Hunter.
all the barrels
Yeah.
and all that stuff.
Oh,
Like, thing was
yeah.
awesome. I was like, this is the greatest thing ever. And I went like muzzleloader hunting once, and then things sat there forever, so I sold it.
Yep.
It's like I usually, like Paul was saying, that time of year,
It's duck season.
I'm doing other stuff: bow hunting, duck hunting, whatever. I generally don't go muzzleloader hunting.
There was I was thinking about investing in a nice muzzleloader because of Massachusetts muzzleloader season being after the end of like everybody else's
Yeah.
seasons around here. So I'm like, it would extend my season out pretty late.
Yeah.
But now with the new law changes down in Mass, I don't even want to mess around with going down there. I really don't. Like, I feel like I'm not going to know something and I'm going to like get caught doing something completely innocently, but it's going to be completely wrong and I'm going to catch charges because they're updating so many laws in so many weird ways.
Yep.
Specifically for out-of-staters going
Yeah.
down there. So if you're not a Mass resident, then all these new laws apply to you, and it's just getting a little crazy. So I don't think I'm investing in a nice muzzleloader. I'll keep the one that I got. because I got it for a good deal and
Yeah.
just leave it there. But I am going to be putting new scope mounts on it so that my scope doesn't get moved around on me again. Hopefully.
Do we want to talk about? Do you want to wait on the Predator guns until
Hey,
at the
if
end?
you want to do it, go for it. I mean, Paul was too bashful to do it, but you can.
All right, I'll do it. So I have.
Mine's not really Predator.
Right.
Like it's not set up
Right.
like what.
Well,
Tyler's
yeah,
running.
yours is like.
Yours is
I'm
set
ready
up.
to rock and roll.
I'm ready to shoot. Like I hope a whole
both of
pack
our-
of them comes.
Right.
A pack. It's a side story.
Both of ours are. I think we got into that story last night.
That
in the
was
episode,
last night.
so
We did.
Yep. Yeah, both of our ARs are just more or less like, yeah, I'll shoot something.
Yep.
But yours is like honed in on this.
Well, mine's just got the scope. That's it.
That's
it's just,
true,
It's just
yeah.
a regular AR that I
Right,
put that
right.
scope on.
Right.
But before I do that, I have for predator hunting also. I have a 22 250 caliber.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a Browning.
Oh, you did end up buying another one of those.
Yeah. By my,
He sold the other one to Rachel.
oh, that's right. I did. Rachel
Yeah.
has one of those too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forget the damn model, but anyways, it's 22 250, which is a pretty good. It's like a popular Predator caliber. It's used everywhere. It's like super minimal impact on like, damage to the pelt. If you're that type of person,
Sure.
it's gonna keep the pelt super flat, like long distance shooting. Good energy. So it's just a good caliber for that. So I have one of those, but it just happens to be right here. This is what we're hoping to do later. We'll see.
Right.
And this is by no means a great setup. I mean, it's a good setup, but it's not like some people hate these scopes. I'm talking away from the microphone. All right, let's pull this thing out. It is empty, I promise.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is just a regular AR 223-556 like style gun that everybody probably has, but it's got a different scope on it, and the scope is it does day and night vision as well. It's mixed reviews. This is like a cheaper end scope. You can get really crazy, like tens of thousands of dollars.
Yes.
But it's an electronic scope. You can sight it in and adjust everything, zoom, all this other stuff. It's got a battery pack that goes here, so you can run it off a battery pack versus batteries, just longer lasting. It's got like the IR illuminator on this side. But yeah, that's it.
What is that scope?
This is an ATN X-Sight.
Yep.
There's different models. There's thermal ones. There's all sorts of different stuff.
What's the GPS capability on that? I see it says GPS.
I'm not really great with all that, but I think it just allows like location and things. I haven't messed much with any of that stuff actually. It's got like Wi-Fi and weird stuff that like I don't actually pay attention to. But yeah,
But it records.
it records. That is a cool feature. So you can take pictures, you can take video, you can set it up. So this is set up to when you shoot, it's got a recoil like sensor basically, and when you shoot it's constantly recording, but when you shoot and it senses that recoil, it saves 30 seconds prior. Well, this is what I have it set at. You can adjust it, but 30 seconds prior to 30 seconds after the shot. So, like, maybe we'll shoot something today and we'll see what it looks like.
Get it on video.
Yeah, that's it. But the cool thing about it is, and this is why I want to use this over like the bolt action, is like semi-auto.
Yep.
Unload. Unload on. Just picture that whole pack is running.
Right.
And we're unloading.
All 5 rounds.
All 5 rounds. Anyways, yeah, that's that.
Sweet.
Nothing too fancy. Just take an old AR and put a different scope on it.
Right? I'm probably going to do that because I have the Sightmark Wraith, which is a
Yes.
very similar electronic IR scope like that.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to put that on my AR at some point, so.
Yeah.
But I haven't yet.
This is good for like our area hunting, I would say too. So like, we're gonna again shoot, anywhere from close range to
Right.
maybe a couple hundred yards. We're not like hunting coyotes out west where they're shooting like sometimes they're shooting close, but sometimes they're shooting 500 yards away, 600 yards away. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? So like, I wouldn't do that with this, but
Yeah. I think like if we ever get, the paperwork for doing night hunting for coyotes, then I'll absolutely put that scope on
Yeah.
and make sure that that's sighted
Yep.
in. But for now, while we're just going out during daytime,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna keep the setup I have.
Yeah, definitely.
Keep
It
it
makes
light.
me just want to buy another AR and set it up.
Right.
I didn't tell him to either. We have a gun problem.
It's not a problem.
It's true.
It's
All
not.
of us enjoy it,
Mhm.
so I don't think it's a problem.
It's an addiction. It's a gun addiction.
There are a lot worse things you can be addicted
Exactly. That's what I tell my wife all the time.
That's what I told Mariah.
She's like,
she
you
just
spent
shook her
how
head.
much? Well, I could have done it worse. Spent it on
Right?
drugs or alcohol. Right?
to. No, absolutely, absolutely.
I got nothing. I'm just sitting here going,
Yeah.
trying to see how I can justify another
Right.
one.
As we sat here all morning debating on whether or not we're taking a trip to Cody's today.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say no.
I don't think any of us would say no.
Depends what time we leave.
Right, exactly. I mean, you could just shoot home from there.
Yep.
But what other guns you got?
Ooh, a lot.
Well, for hunting.
Oh. Let me think
That
here.
you want to talk about.
That's probably it. I mean, I have a. You open up the gun safe. I need another gun safe.
Paul's leaving.
Paul's leaving.
He's just out.
He's going to buy a gun right now. His brain works that way. It's all in his brain right now. I think that's probably it. I mean, I have multiples. Some are older that have been given to, passed down from my father. But like I have multiples of the same caliber. So like I said, the 243s, 30-06, all like the standard,
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think. I think that's probably it that I actually like use.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch in there that I just don't do anything with. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then you got all these guys laying around.
Over.
No, we don't just leave them laying around. They're,
No, obviously
they're
not. No.
when there's children around, they're safely
Yeah.
secured.
The only reason why they're out right now is because we were just all comparing them
Right.
before we sat down and do this episode.
Right.
So,
Yeah, we were just looking at different sites and which got us on the gun topic.
yeah. Which led us to this episode. There he is.
Oh, he's back.
Yep.
Did you buy it? Yeah, that's all I got. That's all I got for guns that I shoot,
Yep.
generally.
What's your most prized gun?
Cool.
Like, I would say, sentimental wise.
I
You
don't-
have one?
No.
No? Do you have one?
Yeah, my grandfather's double
Yep.
barrel. For sure.
Yep.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, I have a whole pile of guns that my father like handed down that
Yep.
that'll then become like my kids, but like I don't know if there's any like prized possession that I think about. I just
Right.
put it in the gun safe and think, "Oh, I got all these guns." Sorry, Dad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll take that back. His 30-06 semi-auto. I probably one day that'll probably be one that I like that I'll keep.
Yep.
That I think it's like okay maybe. And I have not shot anything with it or even taken it out hunting. It's always just sat in the safe. But maybe I think that would be something I'd like to do is try to kill a deer with that thing.
Yep.
I got some funny stories of me hunting with him with that gun. Like
Yep.
him hunting with the gun,
Sure.
me with him. What do you got going on over there, Paul?
Trying to shut the sound off.
Struggling.
Yep. Riding the struggle bus.
We all are.
What about you?
Me? So deer guns. I run primarily 760 pump 30-06. I've got a Vortex 3x9 scope on it. It's the V-Bright, it's got a red dot illuminated reticle in the center of it.
Yep.
So instead of having like the the scope mounts where you got your irons underneath, I just run a red dot in the center of that so I can shoot with both eyes open at like something quick and get that quick acquisition, or I still have the scope.
That's actually something cool to talk about. A lot of guys now are using, whether they're pumps or semis, guns with either just iron sights or iron sights and red dots.
Right.
Yeah, especially
It's
in
something
our area.
I don't have at all on a rifle.
That's the setup I'm thinking of putting on that semi.
Yep.
Is just running a red dot on it and calling it good.
Yep. Yeah, I like it because it still has the scope capabilities for like if you see something far away, it hasn't seen you yet, and or like I can bring it into a stand. You know, like I even bring that hunting in stands most often, even though I have a different gun for stand hunting. Because if I'm shooting 150 yards or under with that gun, like I'm super confident with it. My stand gun that I have is it's a Remington 700 in 30-06, so it's got like a really long barrel on it, and it's got also a Vortex scope on it, but it's like up to 24 power, so like you can really zoom in, really hit far away without having like a ridiculous scope on it. Like I'm not hunting in Colorado at 800 yards with it. I'm maybe stretching out to 300 yards with it. So I have that, but it's also heavy. It's a bolt action, so I don't just like carry that around in the woods with me. So I use the pump primarily because I can walk with it. I can sit in a stand with it. I can put my back up against a tree with it, and it's pretty dynamic in how I can use it. I'm probably going to swap the scope out this year for something different. I'm thinking about putting a scope on it that's just got a lower profile. Because I'm not using it at max zoom much at all, really. Yeah. So like I'm thinking like if I'm going to be sitting in a stand, and I know I'm going to be sitting in a stand and really reaching out and touching something, I got a gun for that I can bring. And otherwise, I'd rather a lower profile for where I'm walking most often with the pump. Trail traffic's really picking up now. And then what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to take that V-Bright scope and I'm going to put that on my muzzleloader with new scope, new mounts, and try to avoid what happened to me last year. I really think it was the cheap mounts because the scope on my muzzleloader isn't bad. I think it was the mounts on it are terrible. And now that I've actually like taken a good look at them, I'm like, yeah, these are terrible mounts. I don't know why I didn't swap them out sooner. But that's a whole other thing. So my muzzleloader is just like a CVA, just a nice cheap CVA that I bought private sale from a friend of mine for like $300, but that came with like a bunch of stuff with it, rounds and powder and stuff like that. So I got a really good deal because he's just not looking into muzzleloader hunting anymore. My brush gun is a Henry lever action in 4570.
Ooh.
Yeah. And that one, I just put a little Vortex red dot on because it's my brush gun. It's my like short range. I'm going into thick stuff. I want to be able to cut through whatever is in front of me and hit what's on the other side of that.
Just lob some pumpkins downrange. That's basically
what a 4570 is. Yeah, it's like they took a 30-30 and just supersized it, and that's all that it is. And it's not a gun that you take out to have a good time putting a lot of rounds through.
You actually cringe when you have to shoot. You're like, no, do I really want to shoot this deer right now?
Yeah. It helps.
It makes my shoulder hurt just thinking about it. Yeah, I've shot a couple rounds out of them.
I sighted it in, and it took me like 4 rounds to sight in after I bore sight it, and I was like, that's about all I want to do.
Yeah.
And I think it was 1 round too many, actually. So it's got quite the kick, but it's definitely like a phenomenal brush gun. It holds trajectory really well through brush at shorter ranges. Obviously, if you're going out to longer ranges, like I'm talking within like 50 yards, like it holds its trajectory pretty well. And I use, I want to say they're like 240 grain. So like pretty decent grains, which is not that high for a 4570. I like to have a little bit lower grains. Like I only shoot 150 grain with my 30-06 in core lock. But I still like it's a good amount of grain, which helps cut through a lot of stuff. And I have the short barrel on it too. It's an 18-inch barrel on that Henry, and I love that gun. It's painful sometimes to shoot, so I don't put a lot of rounds through it. Do I have any other deer guns anymore?
You must have some of Paul's.
No, I think I gave back all of Paul's. I think that's it that I have for deer guns currently. I mean, I just that I don't use.
Right.
Like I have a couple 30-30 lever actions.
Yep.
I have one that was my grandfather's, and I have one that I bought myself, which I easily could use as a brush gun too if I wanted to. But the 4570 is just it fits so well in my hand. It's super light. It's a Henry that's like super light, and it's just I love that gun. So, great bear hunting gun too with a 4570. Not that a 30-30 isn't though. I mean, definitely gets the
The
job
only thing
done.
with 4570 I always think about is you're hitting that thing with a lot of lead. You're destroying a lot of meat.
Yes, you are. Yeah, but it doesn't go far.
No.
It's true.
Like I mean, like look at like Rodney Elmer, who hunts with a bolt action 7mm Magnum for deer. He's like, they don't go far after I shoot them, you know. Like, so you're on the same token, you know, right?
Oh yeah.
It's all about.
That's why I don't hunt with. I have an 8mm Mauser,
Yeah.
and I just don't hunt with
Yep.
it.
Yep. Plus, that thing's got to be heavy because I have one too.
It's heavy. It's cut down and sporterized,
Oh, okay.
so it's not as bad as it could be.
yeah, mine is
Um,
heavy. Like it's
But
full.
it's all
wood stock.
there. I would love to put a scope back on it. Like
Yep.
get rid of the mounts that are on it because I can't find the actual scope to mount on it,
Yep.
or because it had one of the quick detach scopes.
Mhm.
I can't find the actual mount rings to work with the scope, so I want to change it all out and put a real scope on it, and then who knows, maybe I'll try it out again. But
Yeah.
I'm like, there's just a lot there.
Yeah. Plus, that
And
ammo's
it kicks
hard
like
to
a
come by.
mule.
Yes, it does. Yeah. Yep. And they don't make limb saver stocks for Mausers. It's like a brass butt plate that dives into your shoulder at the end of it. Yeah, that's it that I got for deer guns that I use regularly. I do have another muzzle loader that I never use. It's like a really old traditions that when I was starting out hunting, I bought really cheap for like $100, just to see like, is this muzzle loader thing something I want to do? And when I got that good deal on the CBA, I decided to grab that instead. But as I talked about earlier, I'm not putting a lot of money into muzzle loading. For obviously, I don't do like the duck and upland stuff that you guys do, so I don't have an outfit for that because I don't do it. But for turkey hunting, I've got a Stoeger M3000, and I absolutely love that gun. It very hard to make it not work.
Yeah.
Very hard. And for the price that you're paying for that gun, I got it at Village actually in Whitefield. I can't remember what I got it for, but they are not expensive guns as far as
I'm trying to remember what I bought mine used.
yeah.
And I want to say I paid $300 for mine.
Right. I think brand new I paid like $400 for mine.
No.
Which for a shotgun,
Yeah.
that's actually a very good quality
Yeah.
gun. That's not a lot of money.
Yep.
And that's 12 gauge. Obviously, it's semi. I've got it choked up for turkey, but you can choke it up to pretty much anything you want. So that gun I would probably bring duck hunting or whatever if I end up coming out with
Just
you.
get different
swap a
chokes for it.
yeah.
Yep.
And I really do like that gun, but I take a lot of people out turkey hunting that want me to teach them. So I ended up buying another turkey gun, which is the Mossberg. I think it's a 580, something like that. That's like all set up for turkey hunting, and it was a spontaneous Bass Pro buy when I was there picking up something else.
No. Those don't happen.
I'm like, that's pretty sweet, and it comes with a Hollow Sun red dot on it already and everything, and it was like, I think it was like $680 or something like that. I'm like,
Sure.
Sweet.
Done. Where do I sign?
Yeah. And I do like that thing. That's a pump. That's not a semi.
Yeah.
And I like a pump better.
Yeah.
So that's now like my primary turkey gun. And I usually, whoever I'm teaching, I usually give the Stoeger to. For reasons like we just talked about, of like the semis are easier on your shoulder. There's the next rounds right there, kind of a deal. You don't have a lot of things to think about. But I'm really used to pumps just because like the departments that I've worked for in the past, all the service shotguns are all pumps, except for my current department. We now have semis, but everywhere else has been pumps. So I'm like very used to that action.
Yeah.
So I like running a pump. I like how accurate they are. I like how dependable they are. I like that I have the choice over everything that's happening on it and control over that. So that's my primary turkey shotgun. I swapped out the Hollow Sun red dot and I put that on a different gun, and then I bought a Vortex for that shotgun. I like running Vortex. I like that company. They're good quality optics for not a lot of money.
And their warranty's great.
They are. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Vortex, if you're listening, wouldn't, you know, if you feel like sponsoring somebody. Definitely not listening, so I'm just saying that to nobody. But yeah, they know I like those optics. I run Vortex scopes, red dots. The only other brand that I do a lot is Sightmark.
Yep.
Because again, good quality for not a lot of money. So I think my Stoeger has a Sightmark on it, if I remember correctly. And my AR that I brought up for coyote hunting, that's got a Sightmark red dot on it. But a little bit bigger one than my turkey guns do. What else? I guess like to kind of summarize it, like if you're looking to get into deer hunting, what would you guys say for like a good starter gun? I think like we kind of settled on like 243 being a good round, and I would agree with that. If you want to get a 0.6, that's not a bad round either. Super dependable.
I think it all depends on your experience and
shooting.
Shooting. What you're familiar with, and just go from there.
Right.
If you're comfortable with a 0.6, get a 0.6. If you're small stature and you want something lighter, maybe go with a 243 or 270.
Yep.
It's all what you're trying to do, and how are you able to do it, accomplish that goal, kind of thing.
Yeah. And I would say, what type of hunting are you looking to do too? Are you sitting on the edge of a cornfield and you can reach out 400 yards and you want to practice and get good at shooting that far out? Well, there's nothing wrong with a 243, but the 0.6 or something like, or 308 is going to hold a little bit more energy when it gets out to that far.
After Buckley shooting his deer this year with the 308, I'm probably never going to hunt with that rifle.
Yeah, I mean, it's also
that was a pretty like the hole size and everything. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah,
that's an easy clog.
I don't know what type of rounds he was using.
He was just running Corlocks.
Yeah. See,
and
with the Corlocks, in my experience, they don't bleed.
Yeah.
And I like the Corlocks because I've noticed when I open up the chest cavity, the internal damage from those Corlocks and the transfer of energy, because they don't push through. Like an arrow does very little residual damage because it just pushes right through, right? Those stop and they transfer all the energy into the cavity. And so I don't usually get pass-throughs and they don't usually bleed. But when you open them up, you're like, it's demolished inside here, and they don't go very far. Like Buckley's didn't go very far.
No.
You know? So you don't really have to track them down either because they drop right there. So, I mean, my deer 2 years ago, I hit facing, like quartering away, and I tucked it in the ribs, and it went in, and like the entire inside of it, you could tell, was just mush. Like absolute mush. Like just blew apart the stomach. Like the diaphragm was cut open already for me. Like the heart was not even existent in there. The one lung was gone. The other lung was pretty much intact. Like, and then the bullet was actually lodged in the meat in between two ribs on the other side and never left. But I see what you're saying with like they don't bleed, they don't make a big cavity. Like if that's what you're looking for,
if you depend that for a new hunter.
Yep.
I
Yep.
wouldn't say that'd be the round I'd choose.
Yep.
Just for starting out, because if you're, who knows if you're gonna make unless you're a great shot.
right?
Like Buckley's shot he made was phenomenal.
Or lucky.
Or lucky. I don't.
Which I'm not saying that in the woods I haven't been just really lucky with shots either. I'm like, that's not a dig on Buckley. I've been lucky too. Yeah.
But even I run the Federal 165 grain 30-06 round.
Yep.
And I run the Noslers, the same grain. So, but both those rounds I've had the same thing you're saying. The inside's just demolished.
Yep.
Just a little bit bigger of a hole.
Yep. I will say that doe with that 50 cal muzzle loader, that bled.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
But I've also seen muzzle loaders not bleed at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of it has to do with where you hit it.
Shot
too.
placement.
Yeah. I mean, Buckley with the neck shot with a core locked, I can see why that deer didn't go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't pass through.
No, it
The
stopped.
neck.
It stopped. He actually found it. He said up behind the shoulder blade.
Yeah.
So it came down and was that tucked in behind the shoulder blade.
Huh.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So yeah, going back to it, I would decide what type of hunting you're gonna do. I think we can talk about this a little bit. The benefit of having like a pump versus like a bolt action. Again, like it's all about what you practice with. But I
Right.
think if you're a beginner, you're more than likely going to be sitting in a stand, right?
Mm-hmm.
More than likely, you're not going to be wanting to still hunt. Maybe you are, but more than likely you're not.
either of you got a slug gun?
Mm-hmm.
You do.
Well, a shotgun. That
Yeah.
But like a true rifled slug shot, like
barrel.
rifled barrel.
Yeah, like no threaded for chokes.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. That's I thought about getting one.
Yeah. I would say that because of that, a bolt action would probably be best because that's the most accurate, right? Like the way that the gas exchange happens there, it's just it's shooting one thing. It's not trying to, there's no moving parts after it, right? So I think that that's probably your most accurate gun from a stand. So doing that plus, a 3x9 scope isn't really bad unless you're really trying to take long shots, and someone who's starting out probably isn't.
Right.
I'd be right on that. So I mean, that's not bad. And then, but if you want to walk, the reason why we run lever actions and pumps is because it's easier to cycle the next round, right? So
Yeah, get your follow-up shot.
yeah. When you're walking, typically deer are pretty good at picking up that there's something walking near it, and you're gonna be shooting at something that's moving.
Right.
So that's why that
Close range, fast.
follow up
Yeah.
is important.
Yeah.
Right. So the red dots or iron sights or peeps, so that you get that quick target acquisition.
Yep.
And then you're able to put lead down range quickly and accurately.
Right.
So that's where the practice comes into play, and that's
Yeah.
where that familiarity with your weapon comes into play too. Yeah. Oh, sweet. We're pretty much at an hour.
Perfect.
I mean
Yeah.
that's all of our guns, right?
I would
For
say.
hunting?
I would say
For
it's
hunting.
all of them.
For hunting.
It's for hunting. Yeah.
Yeah. Any other advice that you can give anybody just getting into choosing a gun?
Try things out.
Yep.
If you can go to a range and try a couple different ones out,
Yep.
or some people with a couple different choices, go try them. That's all. You don't know until you actually start shooting it and running it, putting it through its paces if you actually like it or not.
Right.
I would also add too, for both rifles and shotguns, I think it's important to, once you purchase one, test out different ammunition, because
Yeah.
that's another
Yes.
thing. We didn't talk about that, and I don't want to go down this path, but especially for shotguns, but I know rifles are similar. Different ammo shoots better in different guns. Like I have certain shotguns that I shoot certain ammo through, and it's terrible, but then I shoot that same ammo through a different shotgun, and it patterns super well.
Yes.
So I would recommend, once you decide on a gun, don't just go buy any ammunition and just without shooting it and trying different things.
Yep.
That's what
that's a very good
That's
one.
what I would add to all that.
Yep. And like, not just shot size and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
but like what it's made out of.
Yeah.
You know, like I found with that Stoker that, and actually, especially with the Stoker, that it shoots tungsten phenomenal. Like it is spot on with that. Then I moved to my Mossberg, same rounds. It shoots really good,
Yep.
but it's a little bit different of a pattern with that. Same rounds, same, you know, everything, but it's just the gun with the choke on it and everything like
Well,
that.
the choke is another part of it too.
Yeah,
so,
the choke plays a big role.
Yeah.
Yeah, so depending on some chokes pattern better with certain ammunition. So like, or maybe I said that backwards. Some ammunition patterns better with certain chokes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Something like that. Anyways, yeah, you could take the same gun with the same ammo and different chokes, same size choke. So whether it's improved cylinders, you know, whatever mod, but different manufacturers. You know what I mean? So I think that's important too. So I would decide on the gun that you like that feels well. I would buy some different types of ammunition, and I would shoot things,
Yeah.
shoot,
Yeah.
and see what works best.
Definitely. And know like your patterns, because if you have a pattern that's really tight, then that increases your distance.
Yeah.
But if you have it pretty wide, I mean, those bullets are the shot is still going to go out there that far, but it's going to be super wide, and you can't account as easily at longer ranges. It's going to lose energy. So, like, I love that. Like, that's exactly what I'm talking about with that Stoker. I know my range with that is much longer than with my Mossberg, so I just take that into account when a turkey's coming in as to which gun I have in my hands. So if you don't do what you're saying and test them out, you don't know that
Right.
information.
Right.
So, and I'm sure that's really important with duck hunting in upland bird when they're flying away from you,
Oh yeah.
and you gotta at a good distance, and you gotta be shooting them on the move, and so I'm sure patterning is probably even more important with that than it is with turkey.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. And like I said, it's there actually is quite a bit of a difference. I can take the same gun with the same choke and shoot several different brands of ammo through it.
Yep.
And some are really nice, and some are like, holy shit, no wonder why I didn't hit anything. It's just like same. Everything's the same except the ammo. You know what
Yep.
I mean? So
Yep. Any recommendations for shotguns for someone brand new? Like, would you recommend 12 for somebody brand new?
I think it depends on the person. If it's
Yep.
like 30-something-year-old guy, sure. If it's a 10-year-old kid, no.
No.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I would say, and I think it depends too on what you're doing with it. Again, there's a lot of factors, but like if someone's brand new and they're deciding they're going to turkey hunt, I think that's a little different, because I would say weight and other things don't play as much of a factor. Like if you're going to be duck hunting or goose hunting and you're a smaller stature person, or you know, a kid or whatever, you're going to want a gun that doesn't have a ton of recoil, or you know what I mean, so you can have follow-up shots and be able to
Yep.
manage that, and that is also lightweight enough that you can like hold, you know, you can
Hold it up.
shoulder the gun, you can follow your target, you can shoot, you can continue to follow your target, whatever it is, versus if I'm sitting on the ground with a gun, you know, on my
Propped
lap
up.
or something, propped up, or a tripod or whatever. So I think, again, I know it's just kind of a cop-out answer, but I think it all depends on
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
person and what they're doing.
But that's a great answer, because that's the truth, right?
Yeah.
You gotta, there's a lot of pre-planning as to
Yep.
what specifically you're looking to do and what your experience level
That's
is.
why we all have as
And-
many as we do.
Right.
It's there's not one gun that can do everything.
I bought a 20 gauge.
Well,
Right.
Right.
they can do it,
Right.
but can it do it to what you're looking for?
Right.
Mm.
Exactly.
Or is there
Yeah.
a better option?
Like
Right.
if we're going for a walk in the woods and we're knowing the general layout of the terrain might be like open hardwoods, softwoods with some like edge in there, we're probably going to be bringing our pumps and levers that
Right.
aren't our like deep brush guns. But if we're like, yep, we're going to go in that swamp and you're not going to be able to see your hand in front of your face most of the time,
Right.
then we're going to be bringing our short barreled
Yeah.
brush guns.
Yep.
Like that's I completely agree with you, Paul. That's why we have as many as we do.
Yeah. 100%.
That's the reason.
Exactly.
That's a great point, Paul. I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yes. Yes.
Is because you need a gun for every occasion.
Everything you're going to do.
And every day of the week.
Right.
Every day of the week.
You never know what you're going to encounter out there.
Right.
You know?
So, yeah, I think that pre-plan, figure out what your capabilities are, your physical capabilities, as well as your experience level.
Yeah, because it's also not going to be enjoyable for somebody if it physically hurts them.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's a big thing with youth is that you get him into shooting, and this happened with my son. Luckily, he overcame everything. But you shoot, say, a high-powered turkey round with a tight choke with a pretty hefty gun, and you're like, I don't want to do that again.
Yeah.
And as a kid, you're scared. You're like, I'm all set. So I ended up. My son had that similar instance. I bought him a 20 gauge Mossberg youth shotgun. Shot it once or twice, sighting it in. I shot most of it to get everything good, like figure everything out. And then he shot it a couple times, and I could tell he was like, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
And I didn't let him shoot it with the turkey ammo because I knew the turkey ammo was going to hurt him, or at least make him,
Yeah.
So then when we went out, first turkey he shot the turkey, and I remember specifically he shot the turkey, and I was like behind him, like fist pumping, like yes,
Yeah.
right. Turkey's flopping around, I'm like, and I look at him, and rather than being like excited or smiling or whatever, he just was like. And I was like, "You all right?" And he's like, next thing you know, his eyes are watering. He said, "My shoulder." And I was like, "Oh no, this isn't good." I'm like, "He's never gonna go turkey hunting again." Then I went out and bought him a 410, and now he uses the 410, and it's fine.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's a great point. When teaching people too, you don't want to scare them away.
Right,
Just
exactly.
because they're like, okay, I'm not touching one of these again. That sucks.
Yeah.
Like, someone who's never shot before, and you bring them out on a 45-70. So here you go.
Put this
grab
on your shoulder.
Hold on tight.
Enjoy the ride.
And that goes again for like a semi versus a pump.
Yeah.
Versus that's why I like that semi too, because it handles the recoil so much, because you're actually utilizing the recoil for motion in the gun.
Right.
So it discharges it a little bit different and not directly into your shoulder. So
Yep. That's why my dad started me out with my 20 gauge semi.
Yep.
He was like, it's a lot easier for you to handle that than a pump because of the gas exchange.
Yep.
This just reminds me, I have this cool old, I can't remember the model. It looks like a Browning A5, but it's old shotgun. It's 20 gauge. My dad gave it to me. When you shoot, the entire barrel actually
I think I know
recoils. The barrel moves.
No
It's
way.
pretty awesome. It's
Yeah.
really cool. Yeah, it's neat. When you shoot the thing, the barrel actually comes back.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Huh.
I'll have to look it up, show you guys. It's pretty cool to look at.
Right.
I don't have anything else.
Yeah, I think we're
I'm
good.
out.
I think we kind of touched on what we got, why we utilize what we utilize, and brand new people some tips for them. So
Yeah.
I think we're good. Yeah?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, gun for
Sweet.
every situation.
Right. Get ready, gear up. Don't care about credit card debt. When you die, it all goes away anyway.
Exactly.
But that works. So on that note,
But your guns won't.
right,
You
exactly.
can hand them down.
Correct. Yep. And then they don't have to buy them.
Exactly.
They're
They can
investments.
buy more.
You're helping out your children.
Right.
They're investments.
I gotta
Very
tell my
true.
wife this.
Yeah.
It's for the kids.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good.
Good.
Thanks for watching this episode, guys. Tune in on the next one.